Hello, and welcome to Families in Recovery, a family education video produced by the Substance Abuse and Mental Health Services Administration. This section presents key goals for people in recovery and the process of recovery, as well as positive ways families can respond to the different stages of recovery. Withdrawal is the first stage of recovery. During this stage, people in recovery have three goals. 1, to stop using substances. 2, to learn techniques for reducing cravings. And 3, to avoid relapse.
To break away from active addiction is not the easiest thing to do. And a lot of times family members just think that there's just a say no type approach, that if you're not going to get high, end the story, it should be all better, let's go back to life as we knew it. And they fail to understand that sometimes we quit being the family member that loved ones thought we were. We become somebody else.
I decided to stop because I was suffering, I was in pain, and I was getting high. I don't have any fun anymore. Everything is just, it's not making any sense, to get high. You don't have no fun and nothing like that. I used to get high and stay in my house watching TV all day without eating, wake up sick. I was tired. I've been using more than 35 years. Then I decided to change my life, and do better. I have my son, my family was suffering from all my, use of drug.
I kind of went cold turkey, which meant a lot of physical discomfort. I had the oddest, and I've heard other people say this too, I had these little electrical jolts that happened in my brain. I could actually feel kind of just really uncomfortable.
People in recovery and their supporters need to learn about the process of addiction so that they understand how drugs and alcohol alter brain chemistry and hurt the body. Treatment teaches people the skills they need to stop drug use as quickly as possible and to prevent relapse. But if they do relapse, people in recovery should return to treatment right away.
I just simply didn't understand that is more to it than just the use of drugs. I began to learn that it's actually a disease, to be looked at in the same light that we look at diabetes, cancer. And I don't know if that's still emphasized enough or understood by society as being a disease like it should. I think too many of us still look at it as if, it's just the use of a drug, just stop using the drug, and people need to know that the family members need that support because it's a disease, incurable, fatal, and deadly, and progressive disease. And it goes on, and that's why recovery process for not just our addicted loved ones, but ourselves as well. It's a healing recovery for us all.
In the withdrawal stage, it is important for family members to truly commit to being part of their loved one's recovery. Family members who are involved can be very helpful by supporting the goal of stopping drug and alcohol use. This can be a goal for both the family and the person in treatment. It's also important for family members to recognize that addiction is a disease that involves changes in brain chemistry and is not a result of their loved ones being weak-willed.
In this recovery process, I think it's so important for family and addicts to get together and kind of like come to the table with a fair amount of openness and honesty, and just to be supportive.
Be very patient. A lot of patience. You have to have a lot of patience. You have to endure through it, just like anything else. And you have to, overall, you have to have a lot of love and compassion for people like that.
My parents, and we don't live around my parents, they did a good job of not being codependent. In other words, as long as they knew that we were still active in addiction, they didn't offer help. But as soon as we were in recovery, it was, it's amazing. And I see this happen a lot, no matter how much history of dysfunction there is in the family, as soon as people get clean and turn things around, the first thing they want to do is start healing some of those family relationships.
It helps if the family understands that substance use, not their loved one, is the problem. It's easier to decide to be involved in the recovery process if the addiction, not the person, is viewed as the problem.
I really didn't get a whole lot of support at first because I don't think they were aware of what was really going on. And back in 1987, 12 steps and recovery and things, they weren't talked about like they are now. And so they didn't know. They just thought you just need to stop using, stop drinking, you know, stop hanging with your old friends, and that was it.
I didn't really think he was that bad off, but I was on the outside looking in, and I didn't understand the nature of addiction, or I didn't have the perspective of it as a disease.
Regardless of how substance use began, family members need to understand that substance use is not a weakness, but a medical condition.
It's a dis-ease, and it has to be compared, it's an illness, and it has to be linked and paired with other illnesses. If cancer is, you know, somebody get diagnosed with prostate cancer, all the family members support them. They loving them. You get diagnosed with substance abuse addiction, illness, nobody loving you. You're stigmatized. The stigma must stop. But, you know, the stigma of addiction, it don't look good. People don't want to acknowledge it. People don't want to even acknowledge. They don't want to look at it. They don't want to investigate.
As I said in on the meetings, I got a better understanding of what they were going through before I came into the picture, before I was born, how they got into it, and just the kind of struggles and the type of personality types that fall into that. And I just got a real heavier understanding. And